Call to order a special meeting of the Algonac Board of Education, Monday, November 26th. That's not November 26th. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is.
Regular special meeting, that's what screwed me up. At 6 p.m., all pledge of allegiance, one silence.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Well, I remember.
And a roll call, please.
Andrew Goulet.
Here.
Philip Clark.
Here.
Heidi Campbell.
Here.
Heather Arnell Roberts.
Here.
Charles Bustatel.
Here.
Ray Priviloff. Sharon Stiltner here. Mr. President, we have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Information items.
Yep,
Mr.
information.
Latos.
Yep, I'm gonna throw these over, as you could tell by the fact that one's internet service, the other one's network switching. I'm gonna throw them over to Evan to talk a little bit about where we're going and.
The internet is something that we do typically every year. It relates to our E-rate funding where we get the federal government to give us, typically spend about 50% of our internet service charge. So this is kind of step one in that process. We typically just kind of put it out to the government websites, but this time we're actually going to do a bid because I'd like to do a 2-year contract for internet so that we're not continually having to come back and do the same thing over and over. The second one is for network switching. This will be part of the sinking fund project, but we're trying to get the government there again to pay for about 50% of our switches. This is a year-long process, so we got to start by doing a bid where we get the actual pricing for the switches, and then the actual, you guys actioning on it will be dependent upon the government funding the other half. So it's a long process that we have to start now.
Why are we switching?
We have to bid it out, so the government says you have to do basically a
all right.
bid process and give everybody the ability to compete for it, and then we award it.
Oh, okay.
We have, since Algonac started, gone through the St. Clair RISA for the internet, and then we'll be writing a bid for Cisco networking equipment. That's what we have been since 2008.
Are we planning on moving away from the RISA provided? Or,
Again, depends on pricing.
so they're one of the bidders?
They are one of, they always have been one of the bidders, and they have been significantly lower than anybody else that's ever bid on our.
Who are, like AT&T is a,
AT&T has bid, Comcast has bid, they're about the only two that are kind of in the area.
Now, RISA does things for us in that regard to reduce our price for our internet. How does that whole thing work, and how will that factor into their price for what their bid's going to be?
There's two separate entities as far as technology is concerned for, for internet and all that. There's the internet side and there's the data side.
Okay.
So the internet is kind of its own creature, and they provide us with the bandwidth to go out to the internet. Then there's the data side, which is like our student management system, our finance systems, and they are completely separate. So they service us on the finance and internet. If we went to somebody else, we'd still get the student management and all those other things.
So, but, see, and I was around back when the fiber optic network was installed, so was Sharon. And I went to several meetings with Joe Kamey and Dennis Geiser to tell the entities, the local municipalities that not to please don't charge us and give us permits to do it. And so RISA has been very kind to the local entities internet-wise by providing all that. The reason I'm saying all this, my point is, do you foresee a change in their family friendness, if you will? Their
No. And like
I mean,
said, and for E-rate, the driving force for E-rate is price.
right,
As long as they're the cheapest, they're the ones you'll pick.
right,
I
They
can't,
have a damn good reason to go elsewhere.
right.
I can't picture
And they have, like I said, for years, they have been far cheaper, not a little bit cheaper, far cheaper
Right.
right.
on the internet.
And I don't think it really will change any.
Right.
I don't foresee us changing anything.
Right.
Again, it's one of the things we just do,
You have to do.
and we keep doing. The network is a little bit different. We actually went 3 years ago when we started that bond sinking fund program, and because it takes a year, we actually did this We got approved, but when the bond sinking fund didn't pass, we didn't have the matching dollars. Now that we have the sinking fund, I figured it's worth going at it again to see if we can get some matching funds for our network.
Does the state have a preference on what we use equipment
Oh,
wise?
it's an open bid.
In the Cisco line, is it like Cisco Nexus?
No, either
Stuff.
Sixes, pure Cisco, these aren't the cloud-based ones. It's typically, it's a replacement of what we currently have.
Okay.
Now, I will write the bid for Cisco, but it's an open bid. I do the same thing for computers. I typically write like a Dell
Yeah.
spec. I'll write a Cisco spec, but HP will bid on it, and everybody and their brother's gonna bid on it.
Okay, so you'll end up with HP, Dell, and Cisco.
Yeah, we'll get a bunch of different bids.
Yeah.
And they'll all be to the same specifications, even though the word Dell is in there.
That's where my work comes in, because we gotta make sure that HP or Foundry switch, whatever is bid, is equal to the Cisco equivalent.
Okay.
We're a Dell server hardware shop?
Well,
Or-
we are Dell servers. We are primarily Dell PCs. However, last year, when we did the bid, HP came in significantly cheaper. And so typically, if the bid is close, I would have stuck with Dell because our repair and all that is built around Dell.
Yeah.
But when you're $100 a unit different, I can't do that at the end of the day. PC is a PC.
Right.
You know, I prefer Cisco, I was trained in Cisco and all that, but if the pricing is different, then we're gonna go that route.
I just wanted to make sure those things were all, like I say, I was here before, when it started and.
Yeah, and I
you
have
know,
since then, since we've been doing the E-rate, I have bid internet every year, every other year.
Right.
To stay compliant with that as well.
Okay.
Anything else, Fred? Thanks.
Thank you. And that's that. Action item, high school roof.
Well,
Sorry. I'll make a motion that the Board of Education accepts the lowest formal bid and award the Algonac Junior Senior High School roof replacement contract in the amount of $784,035 with an allowance of $50,000 for deck replacement to Zimmer Roofing and Construction Limited.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Is there any discussion? Mr. Latos?
Yep. Yeah, a whole bunch of discussion.
There we
Not
go.
really. I've tried to provide you as we've kind of gone through because not only from the board but also from some members of the community, we've had a lot of very good questions that have come in, and I just want to make sure. And of course, this is our first major project with the sinking fund, so I do appreciate the questions and want to make sure that everyone's comfortable with the answers that we have. One of the questions even tied in, as I shared with you, some questions about the legality of the bid and some of the things that went along for it. I'm not going to try to answer those for you, so you saw that we went to Troon, who we kind of rely on for these things, especially when it comes to bids. Chris Imarino, the attorney over there, provided us with a legal opinion, in which case we still had a couple questions because some of it gets legal speak and I don't know all that kind of stuff, so we again extended out some of the questions. And really what it boiled down to, there was a couple questions, and one of them had to do with why Duralast, and also if you did Duralast, is that an okay thing to do based on the fact that Duralast is the only one that provides a Duralast product, and that's what the specs were written for. And our advice from the attorney was, well, if you do Duralast, and indeed that is, you probably should have a lot of good rationales to why. So we asked Chip, the construction manager from Hendricks, to provide that with us. And in addition to that, they didn't view that as a sole source bid for the fact that we did have 4 different people bid on it. And then if you take a look even here, and I provided you with some, not only the response that we got from Chip, but I also provided you with, if you look at the very, very last point that Chip had talked about, he said on the bid form that they allow for substitution, and when we talked to Mr. Imarino, he also had this same philosophy on this, and you take a look down on the sheet next to it, number 8. And the substitutions basically are, yes, it was written for Duralast, yes, it was, the specs were written in that result, but there's also an opportunity to provide something that's entirely different, providing you have the rationale and you have the material. So legally, anybody could have bid anything, and it's almost like what Evan talked about with the computers. You know, he puts out for a Dell bid, but it doesn't mean that we don't get a bunch of different types of bids, and what you're trying to do is match up the needs of this roof. Chip has been, right from the get-go, has said, he's dealing with a company that's been doing Duralast 40 years. Feels very, very comfortable with the product, has done several schools, and he provided us with a list. Fraser, New Haven, Port Huron, Saginaw schools, lots of different things, and has never had an issue with the Duralast in terms of any kind of leaking or maintenance. A maintenance-free roof, as he kind of states here. And in his opinion, as our construction manager, feels it's the best product for this type of a roof, and thus the recommendation. Outside of that, the only other question that came about was regarding if this was an energy bond or if this was meant to save energy, and the answer to that is no, it's never been done that way. It's been simply, we're looking to keep water out of the school, and that's what the purpose of the roof is. It's
Right.
not to install and get a savings off of that. We hope to do that in other places, maybe somewhere down the road, and maybe this does, but that is certainly not the reason for the bid on Duralast.
The response to our questions from there, did we get that orally or in writing?
Everything we have gotten has been in writing.
So those two questions,
Yep.
they've come back with a written response.
Well, on that one, it's covered in the opinion, but in terms of how they handled that one, this.
So there, I'm looking for a paper trail that
Yeah.
says we,
Well, and like I said, this, when he said, you need to have rationale
Right,
for
right,
that,
right.
that would be this
There
one.
was a letter from Troon saying.
that was their
answering-
opinion.
That was their
Yep.
opinion.
Yeah, and then we had questions to that.
Yep.
And that's where my question is at.
Yeah.
Where's the write-up on the questions?
Well, and
You know, just, I
Yep.
think we should have something so it's documented.
Well, and the write-up to the question, tell me if I'm right, Al, the write-up to the answer to the questions from the legal opinion were answered by the construction manager
by this email.
by this email.
Right, and then
I'd
the,
like to see it from the attorney. That's my opinion. I'd like to see those two questions we asked of Troon come from the attorney. Just
So you want that from the attorney based on,
whatever
what-
the attorney says, I
well, no-
want their opinion in writing. Just as they verbally gave it to us, just have them reduce it to writing. That's all.
yep. And I don't think they have a problem doing that. Yep. What the conversation on the phone was, but
Yeah,
yeah, we could,
yeah.
yep. I think we could do that. I don't see any reason why they wouldn't put that in writing for us. And then, I think that's, like I said, this was the answer that we got, and like I said, I shared all the emails with you regarding some questions that came from the board, and then again with all the correspondence, and the best we could to answer the one that came from the community, and tried to get those answers as well. So,
Did you have other questions besides the one we all?
no, that was pretty much all. They were, like I said, good questions, good, I thought some things that were worth clearing up, so I think that was, but no, outside of that, the other questions just came from the board.
Okay.
any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, aye? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
That passes. Motion to adjourn.
Support.
Been moved and supported. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That passes. Have a good night.